And today we're going to touch on one of the fastest ways to more money in your wallet, fastest ways to more money in your bank account, which is referrals. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle. My name is Michael Bridgman, and you are here because you have a small business that wants to accomplish big things. And today, we're going to touch on one of the fastest ways to more money in your wallet, fastest ways to more money in your bank account, which is referrals. Today is all about how to generate more referral business in your company. You know, word of mouth is one of the most powerful and potent marketing forces on the planet. In fact, many believe that it's the most powerful marketing force on the planet because it inherently does something that marketing is intending to do, which is transfer trust. Word of mouth is powerful. Referrals from your friends to go somewhere are powerful, right? Think about it. When's the last time that you went to a restaurant and you wanted to go and tell somebody, hey, you know what? You need to go here. We had this incredible meal, right? This incredible service. Think about when you go to a great movie, I can't tell you how many times people have told me now to go and see my friend, go see the new Top Gun movie, get into the theater, go see the new Top Gun movie. It's amazing. It's amazing. These are referrals, right? They're a powerful tool to help generate more business for you and grease the wheels on increasing the profitability and the revenue of your entire organization. So how do you make referrals easy to do? How do you make them happen? Well, my friends, today we're going to dive into something that not a lot of people want to talk about. Today we're going to dive into something that not a lot of people are addressing at all. And we're going to take you there because this is the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle. And if you want to be a marketing wizard, this is exactly where you should be. So before I jump over there, I just want to say, please, if you're watching this, then by all means, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And we're growing our reach here at Time Marketing and Consulting with our Marketing Wizards Inner Circle YouTube and our podcast. So the more you can like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. And if you get great value out of today's content, you can always refer somebody to check out the channel. See what I did there? Refer, right? Okay, little sip of tea here. So you can find on YouTube really easily, my friends, the idea of going, okay, what's a good referral script? What's a good testimonial script? What's a good thing that I can do to generate some referrals in my business with my existing database, right? Questions you can ask them, tactics you can use. Those are all sorts of things. But what I want to touch on today, and those are easy to find, but what I want to touch on today are 3 fundamental business practices that you can put into place starting today, okay? Business practices that are fundamental to your clients wanting to refer you, for them being hungry to, for them developing the desire to, for them wanting to get out there and go, man, oh man, I want to refer this company. They were so amazing. My experience was so fantastic. I want to tell other people about that. I run a very successful retail and services business, as well as my consulting company. And one of the core factors, my friends, one of the core factors in our services and retail business is referrals. I cannot tell you the thousands of clients we've had come to the door saying, my neighbor recommended I come to your store. My aunt did, my cousin did, my brother did, my sister did. The pet owner down the street that my dog plays with. We have a pet business, by the way. Like, it is the most powerful marketing tool we ever put into play. And it works for us really powerfully because we base our referral concepts on these 3 fundamental business practices. So what are these 3 practices? Okay. The first one is something that I picked up from the incredible Dean Graziosi, and I've been practicing it ever since I heard the idea because I was blown away by it, and I absolutely love it. It's called after the yes. After the yes. So he shares this phenomenal story where he talks about the idea that, what happens after somebody says yes to any moment in your business is going to dictate how they feel, right? It's going to dictate how they see things. So he tells this great story about working with Richard Branson and some of his charities. And I can't remember the specific charity that he was working with, but him and a friend, Dean, they did a bunch of work and they raised over $1 million for this specific charity that Richard Branson had in his portfolio. And what Dean said that blew him away was they raised all this money. They sent it over to, I believe it was in the food world, like they were feeding the hungry somewhere in a third world country. And they sent all of this money over there. And there was almost zero follow-up from the charity. There was almost no follow-up at all from the company they just raised $1 million for. In other words, Dean and his friend put in all of this work to raise this money, and then they were basically said, oh, thank you for the money and goodbye. Right? They felt completely ignored. They didn't feel recognized for their efforts. And now that's not why they did it. But what happens after the yes is probably going to dictate whether you decide to do something again, or whether you decide to go and work for somebody else or do something somewhere else or buy a different product, buy someone else's service. What happens after you've said yes is going to dictate how you feel. And he said it was incredible because they're very good at raising funds. You know, he's a very successful businessman. And Dean said, we poured our efforts into a different charity that made us feel, in the end, more desired. That made us feel like what we were doing was important, that made us feel like we belonged, that made us feel valuable, instead of somebody just going, oh, thanks for your cash, see you later. So in your own business, think about what happens after the yes. And so I always, when I'm working with a client one-on-one or in our group sessions, I always expand this concept and go, every time a client takes a mini step forward towards you, a mini commitment forward towards your business, that is a yes. And this is really small, but builds into big momentum, my friends. So guys, if they're on your website and they download your lead magnet, that's a yes. So what happens after that? If they decide to purchase from you, right? Just because you earned the sale doesn't mean it's over. So what happens after that? Yes. Just because they've paid the bill and they've walked out, they've said yes to what you delivered. They love it. They've said yes to that service. They leave the building. This is another yes moment. How are you making them feel when they leave the building? Right? And to juxtapose the charity situation that Dean had, I've been supporting the David Sheldrick Foundation in Kenya for years. Gosh, it's got to be at least a decade. My sister is one of these people that has everything she needs, everything she wants. So what do you buy her? 10 years ago, she was turning 30 or so. And I think it was about 10 years ago now, maybe 8 years ago. And I thought, what do you get her for her 30th? So I sponsored an elephant for her. So the David Sheldrick Foundation adopts and they care for elephants. And orphaned elephants, abandoned elephants, sick elephants, all that kind of thing. And they're in Kenya and they're just amazing. Anyway, if you check them out, please do. David Sheldrick Foundation, they do phenomenal work. So I sponsored an elephant named Nadi for her. And here's what happens after the yes. I get monthly updates on Nadi. I learned Nadi's story. I found out all about Nadi, and so did my sister, of course, because the emails are also going to her. But the after the yes was that, I sponsored this elephant for her every year, and we got a full 12 months of updates and information about what Nadi's doing and some pictures and all the stuff. The after the yes was incredible. Am I going to do that again next year? Absolutely, I am. Because they showed me the impact of my dollars. They illustrated to me how powerful my decision was, and they kept reinforcing that because of the way they treated me long after I'd made the commitment. The after the yes was so powerful in that case because it kept drawing me back. So when you're looking for referrals, right? When a client is walking out of your store, when they've had the experience with you in your business for your service or your product, what's the after the yes moment that you're going to make them feel incredible, that they want to share the feeling that they had. They feel compelled to help a person that they know solve the same problem you solved for them by sharing that feeling. That's what it means to use the after the yes concept to help you with referrals. All right. So think about your client's journey. You hear me talk about this all the time, especially those people in my Marketing Wizards Inner Circle, like, oh my gosh, Michael, client journey, client journey. Yes, yes, client journey. What's going on with that client? Because there's dozens, I imagine, after the yes moments that you can make incredible for that person. And now they're going to want to jump out there. They're going to want to be out there, and they're going to want to share that experience with somebody else. Okay. So that is piece number one. Think about after the yes, how to blow them away. Okay. Piece number two. Number two on how to be a more referable company. Focus on the deliverables. Focus on the results. Okay. I am sure you've experienced this before, where you're working with a client, or you're working with a business, I should say. They're delivering a service for you. And you're like, oh, this other little thing, could you guys do that? And they're like, that's not in the scope of our project. Or that's not, we don't do that. That's not our policy, right? That's not the policy that we have in our business. And I'm not saying that companies should adjust these things, but I'm saying, how do you think that makes the person feel? How do you think that makes them feel? We, not that long ago, completely renovated the doggy daycare space in my pet business. And we spent almost $20,000 on the painting and the refurbishing of the space. And I'll tell you, it was a big job. It was very expensive. I hired one of the top companies in the city, a highly reviewed and referred company, by the way, in the city, to do the painting. I could have hired cheaper for sure. I could have bought cheaper paint. I could have gone cheaper. But here's the thing. They focused on the deliverables. They were incredible. They were amazing. When there was, so I had a guy, and this is perfectly juxtaposed. I had a guy coming in to do some patches on the drywall in the space. You can imagine there's doggies in there, right? They beat up the room pretty bad. So of course they did, right? So there was some holes in the drywall. So he came in and frankly did a crappy job. So what does this painting company do? They're just there to do the painting, but they focused on the end result. They focused on how I would feel when I looked at that room afterwards. And they said, hey, you know what? This guy came in. We know he's kind of a friend of the family, but he did this really crappy job on touching up this part of the drywall. Right? He left a whole bunch of mud in there, and it was like super wet and moist. It was never going to dry. Like, it was thick with mud. He just, rather than putting a lattice over top of it and then mudding it, he just basically packed mud into this big section. They're like, this is never going to dry. It's never going to look right. We've taken the liberty of just scooping that out, going to Home Depot, buying the patch, repatching this. It's gonna, we're not gonna paint that section for, we're gonna wait another day so it dries better. But we've done that, and we did it over in this spot where he was working, and we did it over in that spot where he was working. That's focusing on the results, right? When you're a company that focuses on the deliverables and the results, the customer feels that, they understand that. And now when somebody asks me, hey, do you know a company in the local area that does a great job painting? I will refer to them, this company, over and over and over again. You know why? Because I know that they're going to represent me, represent my word out there in the marketplace. Because that's the trust hurdle that we have to jump with referrals. And as a business, when you focus on the deliverables and you focus on the result that you're providing, you earn huge amounts of trust, huge amounts of bond, because finally the customer goes, oh my God, I can put myself in this person's hands, and they're going to take care of me. They're going to do what's best for me. Right? It's a huge difference. And I live and breathe this in my own companies as well. And one of the ways I do that is with two very powerful quotes. The first one, and every person I've worked with will tell you, I refer this quote all the time. It is, they will never remember what you did. They'll never remember what you said, but they'll always remember the way you made them feel. Right? And I think it's actually, people will remember. The people will never remember what you did. They'll never remember what you said, but they'll always remember the way you made them feel. From Maya Angelou. Now, that woman was staggeringly brilliant, and I absolutely love her. But that quote has sat with me forever and a day, because when I'm looking at a situation, and I hope you can adopt this too, I'm always watching what's the client's body language. What are they saying to me? How are they going to walk out of the situation? How are they going to feel when they move on? Because that's going to dictate whether or not they're going to refer my company. If I have to have a challenging conversation with a client about, a marketing asset that I put into the market that wasn't working, and I can tell why, and, maybe I've got to critique something, some choices they've done. If I do it in such a way that they feel foolish, that they feel dumb or stupid, or like they don't have the tools to get this done and they feel defeated, you think they're going to want to keep working with me? No. They're just going to feel like they want to move on because like, oh, well, there you go. This guy jumped up all over top of me. Yeah, he's good at what he does, but man, he makes me feel like garbage. So I don't want to go to the next meeting, and then the next meeting. I don't want to sign a 12-month contract with this guy. Right? So focus on those deliverables in order to focus on how you make them feel. And the other part to that is a great quote by another fellow Canadian, Steve Martin. And he says, be so good they can't ignore you. And the way I reframe that all the time is be so good, they have to tell somebody else. They have to tell somebody else. If you run a restaurant, be so good, they have to go and tell somebody else, right? If you are in the services business, be so good, they have to go and tell somebody else. If you're an author or a business coach or you're coaching, be so good, they have to tell somebody else about the incredible experience because you focus so much on delivering results for them. It's one of the reasons why I don't, as a consultant myself, the minimum contract I sign with anybody is 90 days because I'm focused on the results. Why hire a marketing consultant and an agency for 2 weeks? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? The results are going to come with diligence and patience and an eye on what's the metrics are. Like that's where they're going to come from. They're not going to come from a one-off situation. So ultimately focus on those results, and you're going to see a ramp up in how many people want to talk about, you want to talk about your company. Huge, huge, huge. One of the key areas that we're starting to see this is in the difference between online courses and workshops, right? If you see these testimonials that are pouring out about this guru's, I went to this guru's thing and it was amazing and all this other stuff, I will bet you almost every single time that those are references to live events and online workshops rather than online courses, right? The stats on online courses and how much people like them and are using them are dramatically low. Like they're terribly low. Whereas the workshops that are focused on getting somebody a result within a specific time frame, and they're live, they're interactive, the results that people get rocket upwards. Why? Because the workshop's focused on results, whereas the course is focused on the material. Two very different things. Okay. Third thing to help you be a referable company. Okay. And this is going to sound simple, but it's something that we really need to focus on. And I think a lot of people fall out of this. Okay. They fall into a trap with this. And I'm going to explain that in a second. But the third thing, be a pro. Be a professional. Okay. Be really good at what you do. It blows my mind how many people I talk to and I meet through networking events and, online elements and, LinkedIn and Facebook and everything else. These people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second, because how dare they get out there and pitch their stuff when they don't know what the hell they're talking about? You know how many business coaches I meet that haven't built a damn business? It blows my mind. How many life coaches I meet out there that their lives are a disaster zone? Fitness people that they're fat and overweight and have no energy and don't do what they preach. People, be a pro. Oh my God, be good at what you do. And if you're not good at it yet, get good at it. Practice to get great. I don't mean this to, slap anybody around, but the fact of the matter is if you're not fantastic at what you do, apprentice then. Apprentice, get out there. The internet space is filled with half-assed effort and 10% knowledge, and fractions of skills. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. It's taken me, 14, 15 years in business to get to where I am today. And it took me over a decade in business and the ups and downs and the roller coasters and crashing through things and learning and $100,000 in extra courses before I would stand on a stage and explain anything to anybody. Because I needed to know that I was acting out of integrity. I needed to know that what I was telling somebody was true. It was real. It was actually what was going to help move the needle for them, because small business owners don't have time. You don't have time to wade through someone's BS to get to where you'd like to go. So be a pro, my friends. Be a professional. And if you're not great at what you do, then study and practice until you're great. Study and practice until you're great. I know that there's a huge movement to move from formal education to a more like hands-on practical approach to education. And frankly, I'm all for it. But the fact is, get the damn education first before you get out there and start hawking your stuff. And I'm throwing the gauntlet down here a little bit because I just get so frustrated seeing people that don't know what they're talking about out there pitching stuff, pitching their course, pitching their this, when they don't actually know what they're talking about. So be an expert at what you do, be a pro, right? Because when you're a pro, when you're an expert, people are going to want to talk about you. They're going to want to refer people to you. They're going to want to go out and talk about their experience. They're going to want to go and talk about how much this person helped them. Like, for example, we recently have put air conditioning into our whole building, right? And so we've got, heating pumps now on the roof of the building, and there's there's air conditioning heads in the doggy daycare. There's air conditioning heads in the retail space. Air conditioning heads. There's one in my office now, which is why I couldn't record an episode last week because there was a work in here. But the point is, yes, we're late to the party on air conditioning, but it's now in the space. I had started this process 8 months ago by hiring somebody who turns out wasn't a pro. He came in and sold me a big song and dance and wound up installing the wrong type of unit, doing a poor job on the electrical, and not setting things up properly. The guy didn't know what he was doing. Right? And it cost me thousands of dollars in repair work, blew the motherboard on the heat pump unit that was there because he didn't power it properly. Right? And then wound up, so I had to buy another motherboard for that thing. And now he left me high and dry. So what did I have to do? I had to go to another company. And these guys were fantastic. They not only talk about focusing on deliverables, they not only installed more heat pumps into the rest of the space and set them up properly, and they're working great. I'm nice and cool in my office right now. But not only did they do that, but they also fixed the one that he screwed up, that the first guy screwed up. So when you're a professional, when you're focused on being a pro, you breed confidence. You breed courage, right? You embrace these things, and people love that. They gravitate towards confidence. They gravitate towards someone who's courageous and is going to step in and say, no, this is the best way to do this. I know because I've got the experience and the wisdom and the skill to do it. Right? They step into those roles. I mean, let me ask you, would you like to go into surgery with someone who goes, yeah, this is my first time doing this surgery. Here's your oxygen mask. No, right? We're just going to open up your eyeball. Here we go. No, you want somebody who's got experience. They've practiced. They've got skill in the marketplace. So the final part to being phenomenally referable is be a pro. Practice. Do the work. Put in the hours. I know we want to get places fast, my friends. I know we want that. But the fact is, nothing is going to replace experience doing what it is that you're promising someone to do. And if you don't feel confident in it yet, then practice for less, or do it like find ways of doing the job where you're not going to hurt your client, because then you won't get referred. Right? So be confident, be fabulous at what you do. So the person leaving, the person who's bought the service, bought the product, they leave going, oh my gosh, I have to tell somebody about this. They were so good at what they did. Okay, so as I had mentioned before, my friends, you can find like great referral scripts just by Google searching, hey, I need testimonial scripts or referral scripts. There's lots of those. These are 3 fundamental business principles that make your company more referable, which is the easiest path to more money. If your clients can leave your business and go out and want to tell somebody about it, they know people just like themselves that are going to need what it is that you do. So they're going to want to tell others. But you got to practice those 3 things. After the yes, okay, how are they feeling after the yes? And what structure and systems have you put into place to make sure they feel phenomenal after they've chosen to do business with you, pay the bill, download your lead magnet, whatever it is that you're doing, okay? Second thing, focus on the result. Focus on the deliverables of what you're offering, okay? Don't get wrapped up in just putting your head down and just doing something. Focus on making sure the client's getting what it is that they want. Communication, understanding, watching body language, okay? And the third and final thing is be a pro. Be phenomenal at what you do. Be confident, because that is going to ensure that those people leave and go and tell somebody else, because they're like, man, I'm going to put you in great hands. You can go over here and you can do work with Sally because she's amazing at what she does. All right. So if you want to ensure that your business is word of mouth worthy, that is referable, those are 3 powerful fundamental business practices to put into place that can just produce massive results. All right. So I hope you got great value out of today. We are running out somewhere around 30 minutes or so today. So I hope you got great value. Thanks again for watching this. My name is Michael Bridgman. My company is Time Marketing and Consulting. You can find more about us at michaelbridgman.ca, which will be just along the bottom here. And once again, if you want to have a company that grows like crazy, then be more referable, my friends. It makes things easy for your clients to go and talk about you. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you got great value out of this. And I will see you next week on the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle. Ciao for now.